Hi, we are working on Mystery 1 today from Chemical Magic. And if you guys watched through the videos already, you were able to see what the experiment entailed, and I'm going to do it for you here so that if you want to do it at home with your parent, you can definitely try it at home too. I'm going to give you a little shortcut. If you want to participate in on the experiment, and then this is going to lead into Mystery 2. So if you want to have it in your house and you want to keep it and have it ready to go, you can definitely do that if it's okay with your parent. So just like in the mystery that you watched, we have a couple of things set up here. So I have 4 different containers here set up. The first one is soap. The second one I used vinegar. And I didn't have any plain white vinegar in my house, but I have an apple cider vinegar, which I tried for the vinegar container. And then I used red wine vinegar, and I put that into the salt and vinegar one. And I think they should probably do about the same thing, but I just wanted to test them differently, because why not? And then I have one container with water and just salt in it. Okay. So the first one, I don't know if I said that, just regular dish soap. And if you want, you can also use like a little bit of laundry detergent, same kind of thing. Any kind of soap, really. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our pennies.
Can I use that penny?
Yes, I can. And all of the pennies I have here, there we go, are definitely not shiny new pennies. So we have old pennies here, and we're going to test them out in the different solutions to see if we can get any of them to change. So when you watched the video, you did talk about,
Mama, I'm going first with those.
Okay. It did talk about the difference with the pennies in the year, and the newer ones are shinier and the older ones are not shiny. So the only thing, if you're doing this at home, is to, before you start this, check the date on your pennies. So you want to make sure that when you look at the little date on there, it has the year that the penny was made. You need to make sure that the penny date is before 1982. Here, hold it. So the reason you want to make sure that it's before 1982, is
Mama,
pennies. Can you listen?
Pennies
Pennies from before 1982 are all copper. After 1982, they changed the way that they made them, and they added zinc into them, and it doesn't quite work as well for the experiment. So you want to make sure that you check the date, make sure that they're all before 1982, and it should work better for the experiment here. So just like on the video, you're going to dip your penny halfway into the liquid, and you're going to hold it there for 15 seconds, and you're going to then take it out and make a comparison to see which pennies look different. So I'm going to start with this soap, and we're going to hold it, and we're going to count to 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Alright, so much like, hold it as close as I can to the camera, much like on the video, not much change. Okay, can you hold it halfway?
1, 2,
No, halfway. There you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That's okay. So when you pull it out, not too much change there either. Next up we have, it's just wet. Next up we have the salt solution. We're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. And just wet on that one too. No change. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Alright, so this one slightly starting to see a change. So the difference between the vinegars didn't seem too much. The white vinegar definitely will work better. And so. And we talked about in the video the idea of oxidation, which is the air hitting the penny, the copper material. So anytime you look at anything made of copper and it's exposed to the air, you're going to see that chemical reaction. I have another video for you to watch that is going to show you another real life example of that. That you can click on after this, and showing that chemical reaction and how it's able to be changed. So the last step of our experiment is we're going to take all of our pennies and we're going to put them into the salt and vinegar solution, and we're going to leave them there overnight until our next experiment. So usually
I'm gonna take one.
Okay, you can put those in that one all the way in. So all of the pennies that you have, even if it's just like 2, that's fine. I got a bunch out, so I'm going to compare them a little bit. Don't splash it, okay? And you can just stick them in the salt and vinegar solution. If you only want to do one, you can just make a solution of salt and vinegar, half and half, so like 1 cup of water, 1 cup of vinegar, and a couple tablespoons of salt. And then you're going to let the pennies sit in there until we get to mystery 2. They can sit a little longer. I've done it in school even where they've sat for a couple of days, so it should be okay for you to see the changes going on as
You're
it
changing
sits.
a little bit bad, Mama.
Okay, you can put those in too. As it sits somewhere on the counter. Here, let me borrow this real quick. So the last part is, I'm going to hold one out here. It talks about sandpaper. I don't have sandpaper, or if I do, I don't know where it is, and I'd have to check with my husband. I have a nail file, which is very similar. So it talks about scraping the penny. No, don't touch. Scraping the penny and seeing.
Can I borrow that for a minute?
Yes, you may when I'm finished. And kind of removing that outside layer, and there it is. And you can see it's starting to be removed pretty easily. I'm not really even pressing that hard. So again, you can try this at home if you have sandpaper out in your garage area or tool area. Make sure you ask a parent or an adult. Also, a really heavy duty nail file, which you might have, or your mom or grandma might have at home. You're going to scrape the penny and you'll be able to see the tarnish come off, and it kind of has little flakes that come off with it, which we're going to start to examine to see if that happens in the liquid as well. Mine's going to be obviously a little bit more challenging to see because I have this odd pink color solution from the red wine vinegar. But we're going to test it out anyway, and we're going to see what changes happen, not only to the pennies, but the solution. If that layer over the top of the copper is going to come off in pieces, if it's going to dissolve in the liquid, and we're going to investigate that in Mystery 2 to see what happens with that.
I don't like
so
that.
You don't have to set up all of the containers if you want to try this at home. The only one you're going to set up to keep would be the container, again, with about a cup of water, a cup of vinegar, and a couple tablespoons of salt. And then you want to keep however many pennies you can find in the solution, and you can leave it there for a couple of days. Just keep it somewhere out of the way on a counter somewhere. And remember, when you're looking at your pennies, you want to make sure that you're using pennies from before 1982 to make sure that you get pennies that are 100% copper. It's just going to work better for the experiment. Okay, and I will see you back here for mystery 2.
Bye.